Have you ever closed your eyes and imagined the perfect morning? You step onto your back porch with a warm cup of coffee in your hand, feeling a gentle tropical breeze move across your skin. You follow a stone path through your forest garden, and there, waiting for you, is a basket filled with fresh, rich eggs and beautiful golden yolks. No last-minute trip to the grocery store. No mass-produced cartons of uncertain quality. Just wholesome food gathered only a few steps from your own home. Then reality begins to set in. You picture the exhausting work, scraping wet, foul-smelling manure from muddy ground, battling clouds of flies, or even worse, waking in the middle of the night to the terrifying sounds of a predator attacking your flock. That fear and frustration have stopped countless people from ever beginning their backyard farming dream. But after years of working with poultry and farm animals, I can tell you it does not have to be this way. What if you could create a backyard system that was safer, cleaner, and easier to manage? What if thoughtful construction and reliable automation allowed the coop to operate smoothly while you were working, traveling, or simply enjoying a peaceful retirement? Welcome back to Farmyard Care. Today, we are opening the gates to the ultimate low-maintenance poultry sanctuary, the predator-proof chicken mansion. This is not simply a wooden box where chickens sleep at night. It is a carefully designed backyard system built to save time, reduce physical strain, protect your flock, and bring genuine happiness into your daily life. Whether you are a busy professional, a family hoping to reconnect with nature, or a retiree searching for a manageable, rewarding, and therapeutic home project, this video will give you a practical blueprint. Let's step inside and discover how every part of this chicken mansion works. Part 1. The Backyard Goldmine. An easy start for everyone. Let's begin with a simple truth. Backyard farming is one of the most rewarding and accessible home-based projects you can start today. It does not require heavy machinery, acres of land, or exhausting physical labor. For older adults and retirees, keeping a small flock of laying hens can become far more than a hobby. It creates a calming connection with the natural rhythm of life, while these cheerful, active birds keep the mind engaged and encourage gentle daily movement without placing unnecessary strain on the body. Beyond the peace and companionship they provide, chickens can also become the foundation of a remarkably productive backyard system. They act as natural biological composters, helping consume suitable kitchen scraps, vegetable trimmings, weeds, and many common garden pests. In return, they produce nutrient-rich manure that can be properly composted and returned to the garden, creating a practical closed-loop cycle that supports healthier soil and more vigorous plants. Then come the eggs. Once your family, friends, and neighbors taste fresh eggs from well-cared-for, pasture-raised hens, the difference in freshness, texture, and flavor is immediately noticeable. A small flock can help supply your household while also creating an opportunity to share or sell extra eggs within the local community. Managed carefully, this small backyard enterprise can gradually help offset the cost of feed, housing, and the original setup. How many home projects can provide fresh food, improve garden fertility, encourage gentle daily activity, and strengthen connections with the people around you, all through a manageable routine that takes only a small part of each day? Part 2. Ergonomics and elevation, no more bending backs. Now, let's look closely at the core architecture of this chicken mansion. From the beginning, our first design rule was simple. The caretaker's comfort matters just as much as the bird's comfort. Many inexpensive, pre-built coops share the same serious weakness. They are small, cramped structures placed directly on damp ground. Cleaning them often means kneeling, bending deeply, or squeezing into dark, poorly ventilated spaces. Over time, that turns a rewarding routine into a painful and frustrating chore. This design changes the entire experience by using a full-height, walk-in structure. With a ceiling ranging from approximately 6.5 to 8.5 feet, most adults can enter while standing upright, move freely, breathe comfortably, and care for the flock without crawling or constantly stooping. The enclosed sleeping house is also elevated above the ground, and that choice provides 3 important advantages. First, it protects the wooden structure from direct contact with wet soil, standing moisture, and the risk of rot during periods of heavy rain. Second, it brings the floor and nesting area closer to waist height, making it much easier to collect eggs, inspect the interior, and replace bedding without repeatedly bending down. Third, The raised henhouse creates a valuable sheltered area underneath. This shaded, dry space gives the flock somewhere to escape intense midday heat, rest comfortably, and enjoy their natural dust-bathing behavior in greater safety. Animal care should not leave you sore and exhausted. With thoughtful design, it can become a comfortable daily walk through the garden rather than a difficult physical burden. Part 3. The Unbreakable Fortress, the Hardware Cloth Revolution. Let's speak honestly about flock safety. A well-designed backyard coop must function like a fortress, especially after dark. If there is one lesson worth remembering from this entire tour, it is this. Standard chicken wire should never be your primary protection against predators. Chicken wire is thin, flexible, and relatively weak. It was designed mainly to keep chickens contained, not to stop determined animals from getting inside. A fox, coyote, stray dog, or raccoon may be able to bend, tear, or force its way through poorly installed chicken wire. The large hexagonal openings create another serious danger, because raccoons and similar predators may reach through the fence and injure birds resting too close to the perimeter. For dependable protection, use strong galvanized welded hardware cloth. A practical minimum is 19-gauge wire, with openings no larger than 1/2 inch. Pay close attention when buying coated wire online. Some products may be advertised by their finish thickness, even though the steel core beneath the coating is much thinner. Look for clearly specified heavy-duty, hot-dipped galvanized wire from a reliable supplier. For this mansion, we selected black PVC-coated hardware cloth. The coating provides an additional layer of resistance against weather and corrosion while also improving visibility through the enclosure. From a short distance, the dark mesh appears less reflective than bright metal wire, allowing the flock and surrounding plants to remain the main focus. Strong mesh is only effective when it is attached correctly. Rather than relying on light staples alone, we fastened the wire to the outside of the heavy wooden frame with structural screws and wide washers. We then covered the edges with a second wooden trim board, firmly sandwiching the mesh in place. This layered attachment helps prevent a large animal from pushing or pulling the wire away from the frame. Building it correctly once is far better than spending every night worrying about the weakness you left behind. Part 4. Outsmarting the diggers and the climbers. Predators are patient, persistent, and surprisingly resourceful. When they cannot bite or claw through the steel mesh, many will immediately test the ground beneath the enclosure. Dogs, foxes, and coyotes usually begin digging directly beside the base of a fence. To block this behavior, the chicken mansion uses a flat predator apron extending approximately 24 inches around the outside perimeter. This continuous strip of heavy hardware cloth lies horizontally along the ground and is securely connected to the lower edge of the coop. When a predator approaches the wall and begins digging, its paws quickly encounter the buried or ground-covered steel barrier. Most animals continue working close to the fence rather than backing away and beginning a long tunnel from several feet out. After repeatedly striking the mesh, they often become discouraged and move on. Another option is to support the structure on heavy concrete masonry blocks installed level with the ground, creating a solid and affordable barrier around the base. Then there are climbing predators, especially raccoons. Their front paws are remarkably sensitive and dexterous, allowing them to manipulate many simple closures. Basic hooks, sliding bolts, gate latches, and other single-step mechanisms may not provide enough protection, particularly when a raccoon has hours to examine them in the dark. That is why every access door on this chicken mansion uses a two-step locking system. Heavy-duty sliding latches are secured with threaded locking carabiners that must be deliberately turned before they can be opened. This added step is easy for a person with opposable thumbs, but extremely difficult for a raccoon to complete. When you combine secure mesh, reinforced attachment points, ground protection, and two-step locks, you create several layers of defense. You are not simply protecting the cost of your coop and flock. You are protecting the peace of mind that allows you to sleep through the night without fearing what may be waiting outside. Part 5. The Magic of Automation, Solving Chores with Smart Technology. As someone who works full-time, I wanted a chicken-keeping system that would not control my entire daily schedule. I did not want to sit at work wondering whether the flock had been locked safely inside before nightfall, or whether the birds were trapped in an overheated coop during a hot afternoon. This is where well-planned automation becomes so valuable. At the center of our system is a solar-powered automatic chicken door. Using adjustable light sensors and timer settings, the door opens gently around dawn, allowing the hens to enter their protected run and begin foraging. As evening arrives, the birds naturally return to their roosts. The door then closes and locks behind them, so they remain protected without requiring you to walk outside after dark every night. But useful automation should do more than open and close a door. It should also help maintain a healthier microclimate inside the coop. During cold weather, dampness, poor ventilation, and ammonia buildup can be more harmful than low temperatures alone. When a coop is sealed too tightly, moisture from breathing and manure may collect on interior surfaces, increasing the risk of respiratory irritation and unhealthy bedding. Our chicken mansion uses passive ventilation, supported by a tall ceiling. Cooler fresh air enters through lower protected openings, while warmer, humid air rises naturally and escapes through vents positioned well above the roosting area. This arrangement maintains steady airflow without directing a cold draft across sleeping birds. For extreme weather, temperature sensors provide additional support. When the temperature rises above 75 degrees Fahrenheit, extra ventilation louvers open to increase airflow. If summer heat approaches 90 degrees, a high-efficiency exhaust fan activates, along with a gentle misting system positioned where it can cool the surrounding air without soaking the bedding. During freezing winter nights, a properly installed radiant panel heater can provide controlled warmth when needed. Instead of relying on dangerous heat lamps, the system uses balanced, low-risk tools designed to support the flock without creating unnecessary fire hazards. Part 6. No-mess PVC feeders and clean water sanitation. Anyone who has raised chickens knows that they can turn feeding time into a remarkable mess. Their natural instinct is to scratch, peck, and toss material in every direction. When feed is left in an open container, a surprising amount may end up scattered across the floor. That wastes money and also attracts rats, mice, insects, and wild birds that can carry disease into the coop. To reduce this problem, we built a simple PVC gravity feeder. The system uses a large vertical storage tube connected to 3-inch PVC feeding ports with 45-degree elbows. Because each opening is angled inward, a hen must place her head inside the pipe to reach the feed. This design greatly limits her ability to scoop grain out with her beak and throw it across the ground. The storage tube can hold a substantial supply of feed, reducing how often it must be refilled. When properly covered and protected from rain, the contents remain dry and cleaner than feed stored in an open trough. At night, a secure cap can be fitted over each feeding port to reduce access for rodents and limit the scent of feed around the enclosure. Clean water is just as important. Traditional open bowls quickly collect soil, bedding, feathers, and droppings. In warm conditions, they may also develop algae and bacterial growth, forcing the caretaker to empty and scrub them repeatedly. In this coop, we use a closed nipple drinking system connected to a 5-gallon food-grade reservoir. The stored water remains protected from most outside contamination. When a hen taps the metal nipple, a small droplet is released directly for her to drink. This system reduces spilling, helps keep the bedding dry, and makes it easier to provide a cleaner water supply. Automating feed and water does not remove the need for daily inspection, but it dramatically reduces unnecessary labor. More importantly, it supports better sanitation, discourages pests, and creates a healthier environment for the entire flock. Part 7. The Deep Litter Method. The 1-year cleanout. Secret. Now let's explore one of the most useful features in our low-maintenance design, the deep litter method. Many people hesitate to raise chickens because they imagine scrubbing and washing a dirty coop floor every week. With a well-managed deep litter system, complete cleanouts can be needed far less often, and in suitable conditions, the bedding may remain in place for many months. This is not a matter of ignoring manure. It is a controlled bedding and decomposition process that takes place directly on the coop floor. We begin with a clean wooden surface protected by an inexpensive waterproof covering, such as linoleum, to reduce moisture damage and help prevent rot. Over that surface, we add approximately 4 to 8 inches of dry pine shavings. Cedar shavings are generally avoided inside enclosed poultry housing because their strong aromatic oils and fine dust may irritate a chicken's sensitive respiratory system. Pine shavings provide a safer carbon-rich material when they are dry, low in dust, and used with adequate ventilation. As the hens move through the coop, their nitrogen-rich manure mixes with the bedding. Their normal scratching behavior helps stir and loosen the upper layer, while the caretaker occasionally turns compacted areas and adds fresh, dry material where needed. Naturally occurring microorganisms gradually begin breaking down the waste. When the system is balanced, the bedding should remain loose, mostly dry, and earthy rather than sour or strongly scented. Any noticeable ammonia odor is a warning that the litter is too wet, too compacted, poorly ventilated, or overloaded with manure. In that situation, the problem must be corrected immediately, rather than covered with more bedding. Slow biological activity may produce a small amount of warmth during cooler weather, although deep litter should never replace proper shelter and sensible cold weather management. Its greatest benefit comes later, when the used bedding is removed through the large clean-out door. Instead of treating this material as useless waste, we move it to a separate composting area and allow it to finish breaking down safely. Once properly composted, it becomes a valuable soil amendment for fruit trees, garden beds, and ornamental plants. A task that once seemed unpleasant is transformed into a practical source of organic matter and fertility. That is one of the most rewarding lessons in farming. When natural systems are managed carefully, waste can become a resource. Part 8. Happy hens and community nest boxes. Understanding behavior. Finally, let's talk about the true heart of this chicken mansion, the birds living inside it. For this forest-style backyard, we selected Buff Orpington hens. This breed is widely appreciated for its calm temperament, friendly nature, and dependable production of large brown eggs. Buff Orpingtons are often easy to handle, making them suitable for families, older caretakers, and anyone who enjoys spending time near the flock. However, their heavy feathering also means they require plenty of shade, fresh water, and airflow during hot weather. Choosing a breed is not only about appearance or egg color, it is about matching the bird's needs to your climate, space, and management style. You may also notice that there is no rooster in this flock. Many beginners believe hens need a rooster before they can produce eggs, but that is not true. A healthy hen lays eggs as part of her natural reproductive cycle. A rooster is only required when you want those eggs to be fertilized for hatching. Keeping an all-female flock can make a backyard setup quieter and easier to manage, especially in neighborhoods where crowing may disturb nearby families. It allows us to enjoy fresh eggs while maintaining a peaceful relationship with the community. To keep those eggs cleaner and better protected, we installed rollaway community nesting boxes. Each box has a gentle slope covered with a soft, durable nesting pad. After a hen lays, the egg slowly rolls through a protected opening and into a separate collection tray. Because the egg moves away from the nesting area, the hens are less likely to step on it, soil it, peck it, or break it accidentally. Collecting the harvest becomes simple. You approach from outside the coop, lift the protective lid, and gather the eggs without entering the nesting space or disturbing the birds. The most effective livestock systems work with natural behavior rather than fighting against it. When housing, feeding, nesting, and daily routines are designed around the instincts of the animal, backyard farming becomes calmer, cleaner, and far more enjoyable for both the flock and the caretaker. Your backyard revolution starts today. Every part of this predator-proof chicken mansion was created around one clear promise: respect the birds, protect the caretaker's body, and allow thoughtful design to handle as much unnecessary labor as possible. It is an investment in greater self-reliance, a peaceful connection with nature, and a manageable home project that can reward you with fresh eggs, useful compost, and meaningful daily activity. You do not need hundreds of acres or a large commercial operation to become part of regenerative farming. Your own backyard can be the starting point. A small flock of healthy hens, housed in a secure and intelligently designed coop, can support your family while contributing valuable fertility to the garden around it. For anyone interested in the step-by-step building plans, layout details, or the automated equipment used in this setup, you can find additional information through the links in the description below. So what is truly holding you back from beginning your own backyard farming dream? Thank you for spending this time with Farmyard Care. If this tour gave you useful ideas or encouraged you to look at your backyard differently, remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who would enjoy bringing more food, life, and greenery into their home. I'll see you in the next episode. Happy farming!